Hey, remember that time they made a faith-based movie about a what-if scenario in which the dead twin of Elvis Presley actually survived and grew up to become an Elvis impersonator, only they couldn't use the name Elvis, so instead he's called Drexel the Dream Hemsley? Well, I certainly remember it. I would say, what the fuck, Hollywood? But I'm pretty sure Hollywood doesn't know this movie exists. The Identical is a 2014 musical drama and is as much of an Elvis biopic as 3,000 Miles to Graceland. The film stars real-life Elvis impersonator Blake Rain in his first and so far only movie, which was very quickly laughed off the screen by audiences and critics alike. But some people on the box cover seem to like it, and why the hell do I own this? Ah, good. Points from the Dove Foundation. They also have a quote on Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas. It would save you time and money if you just replaced all Dove blurbs with "this movie sucks." Some quotes aren't even about whether the movie is good or not. Ray Liotta delivers. Okay, I could say that about the movie, and I don't even like it. The movie was reviewed so bad they ran out of film critics and had to get a former NFL coach to leave a quote. Hell, I'm pretty sure that one of the very few positive remarks on Rotten Tomatoes is written by someone's mom. The film begins in Decatur, Alabama, 1972. It's a lot like Decatur, Illinois, only without the smell of methane gas and moldy cardboard. I see we're following around the most popular 60s and 70s singer, Dave Navarro. Since when does Elvis dress like, I'm sorry, it's Drexel the Dream Hemsley. My mistake. So what the hell is world-famous rock singer Drexel doing in Alabama? You better mellow down easy. You got a lot to learn. Oh, watching Ghost Slaves, obviously! Is he passing through the worst sci-fi original movie? And what happened to the color?
Alabama in 1935. A harder world, for sure.
You just told me it was 1972. This here is William and Helen, parents of Drexel.
Love and passion got in front of logic and patience. And in obedience with the scripture, the Hemsleys set about the business of being fruitful and multiplying.
In other words, Dad is horny. William has fallen on hard times since he got stalked at an ATM with Josh Peck. And his day is only gonna get worse.
William, honey? Meet your sons.
So, how was your afternoon, honey? Did he even know she was pregnant?
Y'all get two fine-looking boys here.
There's a look that says, you wanna pay for this? And since when does sex lead to twins? So William does what anyone would do. He joins the People's Temple. Let's see how this sermon goes.
Blacks and whites, Jews and Gentiles.
Where is this going?
All equal in the eyes of the Lord. All equal in the eyes of the Lord.
Oh, whew. I thought that was going in a different direction. But seriously, this is 1930s Alabama? You're about to be run out of town. Ray Liotta plays traveling Tennessee evangelist Reese Wade, whose wife is Louise, played by Ashley Judd. He has a real way with words.
That's my precious wife, Louise. Sitting right over here. We miscarried again.
He's part of the denomination known as Too Much Information. And why the hell did I need to see the opening with the ghost slaves?
And it is here that our story truly begins.
And who is narrating this? Here William gets the bright idea that if he gives them one of their babies, he'll only have to spend half as much at the water park. Let's see how his wife takes it.
What?
Yep, about as well as I thought.
I'll work 2 jobs. I'll work 3.
Having the job is my job, and there ain't none.
What I'm saying is I would rather give away my son than have a wife that works. Helen vows that no one is ever taking her babies away from her. 5 minutes later.
You preached it, Reverend. It's better to give than receive.
so I'm giving you our baby. Here's the plan, honey. We find out which one of them is an amazing singer, and we keep that one. So naturally, they fake the baby's death.
It was not uncommon in the 1930s to lose a baby.
I'm pretty sure it's not uncommon now either. At least he has a lovely shoebox.
Of course, only they knew the box was empty.
How sad they couldn't even put a dead goldfish in it. These two were so unpopular, everyone else instantly leaves without comforting them. Oh yeah, we made our appearance. Let's hit the bar. Thankfully, the baby ended up with, what the hell is going on here?
The Reverend Reese Wade stole away with his new son and dedicated him to the creator of life itself, the king of the universe.
And then he chopped the baby in half. Nice cut. I've held you underwater for 8 years. You're almost a man, son. This is Drexel's twin, Ryan Wade. He's a constant disappointment to his father for not memorizing the Bible.
Jeremiah 29. For I know the plans I have.
Yep, the boy's definitely getting pistol whipped tonight, especially after this.
Ryan knew instinctively what every grade school teacher knows. Turn it into a song.
Well, I know the plan.
You may be taking some liberties on that advice, and if this scene ends with Reese saying, "I have no son," I'd buy it. Ray Liotta is the harshest American Idol judge. Seriously, who the fuck sings like they're in From Justin to Kelly in 1953? Cut to 10 years later, and Ryan is now a 40-year-old man playing an 18-year-old with his 40-year-old teenage friend Seth Green, who I actually do buy as a teenager. Oh good, he's discovering black music to imitate.
I ain't never heard anything like this before. How come we can't do music like this back home?
Because all your dad's sermons start out like this.
Blacks and whites, Jews and Gentiles.
Speaking of his dad, Ryan is out way past, curfew.
You been drinking, son?
No, sir.
Don't lie to me.
I ain't lying, Daddy.
This feels more like these two went to high school together, and Liotta was the bully, and he still bullies Ryan to this day. Wouldn't you if this were your son's garage band?
Dance, 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 everybody now dance, dance, dance. Everybody's doing it. It's boogie, boogie, rock and roll.
Good, your song features the words dance, boogie woogie, and rock and roll. Did you just look at a list of common words found on an old jukebox? Kinda awkward when Louise brings her date to her husband's sermon. Oh wait, that's her son. And no matter how many times you bring it up, I won't buy them as teenagers.
Hey, what's the rush? You sure your daddy's okay with this?
Oh, yeah, man, I take this car all the time.
I ain't lived at home for 20 years, putz. Seth Green is using this as his audition tape for his next role. Poor little white guy. And this is our narrator, Jenny, a love interest who meets Ryan when they're just hanging out with the family, having themselves a party. Who wouldn't fall for Ryan's charms?
Where'd a preacher's kid learn to dance the way that you do?
Oh, well, I don't know. Something just happens to me when I hear music.
It's called an erection. This prequel to the 40-year-old virgin isn't as funny. And why stop now when making up shit?
There are many accounts of how, when, and where rock and roll was actually born. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, but I believe part of that birth happened on this very night.
That's okay. I'll say that you're wrong. Let's hear the song we just heard 5 minutes ago.
Everybody's doing it. It's boogie, boogie, rock and roll.
Unfortunately, they filmed his hips shaking, so the movie got an NC-17. But oh no, racism shows up.
This place is starting to match my mood. Dark and stinky.
Hey, give Buford T. Justice a break. He stayed up all night coming up with that one, and then he searched high and low for a black bar to say it in. This is the first time I've seen someone busted for overage drinking. And also the first time in the 1950s Deep South that the white guy got assaulted and the black people just got sent home. Busted.
Dude, you're lucky he didn't throw you in jail, boy.
I didn't do anything wrong, Daddy.
Stop calling him Daddy. It looks like you're getting busted by your power top. So Reese makes him join the army, much like that other 50s rock singer whose name escapes me. Rock and roll may have been invented, but rhythm certainly hasn't yet. Are these people seizing out, or are they impersonating the dancing skills of a Peanuts character? Sarge is really gonna have his ass now.
Where'd you learn to sing like that, boy? Let's hear another one. As you were.
Moments later, the squad was instantly killed in Korea. Drexel, meanwhile, is having a far superior life.
Bebop and baby shake, rock it and roll.
Beboppin', a term they left out of Dance Dance Boogie Woogie Rock and Roll. Ryan gets accepted into Bible college, but I'm more distracted that they obviously couldn't get Blake Rain for this scene because it never actually shows him. Things get political in class when the teacher asks them to write down that Ike's not dead. Drexel becomes an overnight superstar, much to the delight of Ryan.
I'm gonna get to know you. I know that I can show you.
Who is this?
Oh, you haven't heard of Terry Stafford yet? Things take a real turn when the cars begin eating the local residents. Wait a minute, Joey Pants? Who has kidnapped the families of these actors? This scene is only here for someone else to point out that he looks like Drexel.
You guys related or something? I mean, you're a dead ringer for him.
I know. I hear it all the time, but no.
Oh, come on. He doesn't look that much like Roy Orbison. Drexel even makes it to TV. You're missing an all-new episode of Surfside 6 for this? But Ryan lets his feelings about Drexel Hemsley known.
You know I can see right inside of him. I know what he's thinking. I know what he's gonna say. I even know what his next dance move's gonna be.
Creepy. So he's not just an impersonator, he's Drexel's assassin, too. It's nice of Ryan's younger sister to give him advice not to go to Bible college and to follow his dream to be a singer. Ryan has spent 20 years of his adult life in college. What a waste. But in his defense, the scripted clam bake was too good to pass up.
Ryan, I don't know what to say.
I know what to say. You're too good for this movie, Ray Liotta. Why are you turning in such a good performance? Go back to more dignified roles, like when you raped people with a garden hose. Ryan runs into Jenny, who turns him down for a date, so Ryan does what anyone would do next. He finds out Drexel's mother is a patient in the hospital, so he sneaks into her room and watches her slowly turn into a zombie.
Your son, his music means a lot to me, and I just wanted to see you.
Ah, that's nice. Help! Oh, yep, this seems normal. No need to see what happens next.
Your love's keeping me tonight.
And that's how, with the power of singing, Ryan killed his hero's mom, who is secretly his own mom. Good, something else to add to his Drexel shrine.
I miss you every night in my dreams.
Just go ahead and fade out, even though this movie has no commercial breaks. We've already heard this song like 8 times already. Ryan takes a job with Joey Pants, but unfortunately Jenny will still not go out with him.
How are you gonna get to know him again if you don't go out on a date?
Well, who says I want to get to know him again?
Your eyes, girl, that's who.
Luckily for Ryan, he has her sassy black friend on his side. And also Joey, who gives Ryan the advice to stalk her. He seems too invested in Ryan's love life, especially since he's also there when Ryan serenades her with a song.
But here you are, and you are real. I'm loving you, loving me.
Boss man just wanted an excuse to go hang out on a college campus. And with that, Jenny agrees to go out with Shakin' Stevens.
Okay, coffee. 1 cup. But only if your backup singer agrees to go with us.
What? Why? What the hell kind of date is this gonna be?
Son, kiss the bride.
Oh, it's the kind where you get married on the first date.
Well, let's just say that was one good cup of coffee.
Except when Joey kept wanting to watch us fuck. No time for that now. A new Drexel Surf movie is out.
Love is floating in the air. Sunrise surfing.
That 1960s D-Day movie sure got a lot of stuff wrong. In probably the weirdest part of the movie, it decides to devote a small amount of time to the Six-Day War in Israel, complete with a sermon from Reverend Reese.
What does that have to do with the Christian church in the state of Tennessee? Everything. It has to do with everything.
I have a question though. What does it have to do with this movie? And why did Louise bring Davy Jones with her? I understand Estes Perkel's sermons more than Reese Wade's.
Our precious Lord and Savior was himself a Jew.
Tone, man! Tone! If you're screaming that, it makes it sound like you're meaning it as an insult! And why does Ryan look younger as the movie goes on? Speaking of aging, how come Ray Liotta is aging like Orville Redenbacher, but Ashley Judd appears to have found the fountain of youth through her son's music? Ryan decides to enter a Drexel sound-alike contest where folks dress like members of Alice in Chains, you know, the 60s. And Seth Green is the lost Allman brother, Zeppo Allman. Surely they're an ace in the hole to win this Cliff Richard contest. All while Jenny goes on a date with Demetri Martin for some reason. And can we stop with the reminders that these actors are age inappropriate?
Can I get a bourbon? And a, you know what, why don't you throw me down at Shirley Temple instead?
Seth Green has been old enough to drink since the mid-90s, and regardless, at this point in the story, his character is old enough to drink anyway. The contest is being guest judged by Drexel himself, fresh off of his tour with that other 60s power group, the Counting Crows.
Slap the dog and spit and fire that boy looks like our child.
Because he's your son's twin, you were there right after they were born. And is Ray gonna be a skeleton by the time this movie is over with? Well, it's about that time. Time for the creepy music.
Who are you?
And it's time for the movie to get a touch homoerotic.
Your love's keeping me tonight.
And then they bang. Hard. Incest bang. Well, the tune has at least one fan. To be fair, he is loaded on prescription painkillers right now. And then Jesus comes to thank him personally. Ryan even gets signed to the sleazy guy with the pompadour wig management, so Ryan sends one of the Everly brothers to sign his contract for him. Christ, now he's dressing like he should be chasing around Pam Grier in a Jack Hill film. I'm sorry, did they do all of their shopping at a Goodwill and just assume everything there was from the 60s? Oh, sorry, I'm talking over the music.
Nashville tonight. Nashville tonight. We're missing Nashville tonight.
And that's a sample of Drexel's new song, Chattanooga. Ryan is now known as the Identical, the world's best Drexel impersonator. So he's ripping off people who think they're getting Drexel's autograph? Ah, look, the title card says Vegas. Just trust us, this is Vegas and not the director's garage. Bigger question, has Ray Liotta turned into Hume Cronin yet?
I am proud of you, Ryan. I am proud of you.
Has anyone broken the news to Ryan that Reese has been legally dead for years now? And still, Louise looks fine. Ryan begins to write his own music, but when his manager won't allow him to perform his own songs, he quits. I gotta say, throughout all of this movie's faults, it's interesting seeing an alternate universe where Elvis Presley doesn't exist and Drexel the Dream Hemsley does.
Ryan, there's only one Elvis, there's one Drexel, and there's one Beatles. And you're a pretender, buddy. You are nothing.
See? Wait. What?
Ryan, there's only one Elvis, there's one Drexel, and there's one Beatles.
Okay, first off, I'm pretty sure there's more than one Beatle. And secondly, so Elvis Presley and Drexel the Dream Hemsley exist together in the same universe? How has Elvis not sued this motherfucker's ass off? And why does no one mention that Ryan looks like Elvis? No one goes up to an Elvis impersonator and tells them they look like another Elvis impersonator. They tell them they look like Elvis. Ryan isn't identical for a fucking identical. This movie's logic has just shot itself in the foot, and it was already on crutches to begin with. So then Ryan continues writing his own music.
City lights keep on shining.
Honey, all I asked was what time is dinner tonight? He begins distributing his own albums made on cheap paper and a color printer, but soon gets the attention of another management firm.
We believe City Lights is a smash hit.
Thanks, Robin Zander. And just because you believe it doesn't mean it's true. Nice poster of Drexel performing for the Benny and June soundtrack. Ryan turns down this offer because he doesn't want to impersonate Drexel, so he goes back to impersonating Elvis. But much like Elvis, Drexel also has a tragic end. He crashes into his toilet and dies of a heart attack. Just kidding. Check out this edit.
Ryan!
See, he crashes into Ryan's ass and dies. While Ryan grieves over Drexel, he moves into the Amityville house and goes insane. Time to visit his parents, you know, the Crypt Keeper and Ashley Judd, who again, still looks fine. Dad has decided to retire from the ministry because they're worried his next sermon will end with him turning to dust. Best wrap this up, Ryan's on his way to Woodstock, 94. But Dad still wants Ryan to be a minister. What's Ryan, like 50 now?
Whether you want to hear this or not.
I have heard it, Daddy. 100 times.
Why?
Okay, when he talks through that wig and fake beard, I'm not thinking of Elvis Presley. I'm thinking of Trey Parker as Alfred Packer. Unfortunately, Daddy gets stricken with a disease called disappointing son. I say they cut out the middleman and just drive him right to the graveyard. That's why the ambulance looks more like a hearse. Ryan then finds a letter which contains its own flashback. Nothing like finding out about your famous twin brother after he dies. Speaking of, good news. Dad is back to normal. You know, dead. Ryan almost buys a drink, but that's for a much more sinful movie. I sense a scheme, though, probably because Mickey from Seinfeld shows up wearing a Ralph Bakshi coloring book. What does any of this have to do with anything? The birth of the band Lil Drexel. It's important that this scene is here. It paves the way for Ryan to shave off his fake beard, and he's trying out his new rocket skates powered by cotton. He goes to the birthplace of both Drexel and Lincoln. His birth dad even shows up, and just in case you didn't know this is where his parents lived, it shows his parents living there again. And if that doesn't work, the narration comes back in.
William Hemsley's health deteriorated after Helen died. Now, with the passing of Drexel, he was a frail and broken man well beyond his years.
How does she know this? I love how, according to the grave, the twin only lived for a day, which means in 24 hours, his mom gave birth, and his dad talked her into giving up one of the kids to a traveling preacher. Silver-tongued devil! With William now being blind, Ryan is there to comfort him and tells him that he's his long-lost son.
It's me, Daddy. Dexter. Ryan. Hemsley.
my son.
Dude, you're blind. That could be Ricky Nelson's twin brother for all you know. And with that, Ryan returns home.
You came into my life when I was alone.
And this is how he talks her into a divorce. Nice to see these two rekindle, even though they never fought once in this entire film. Uh-oh, Dad's trying to fill the wiper fluid with scripture again. So the movie ends pretty much where it began.
And you are more than I ever dared pray for.
With Leota giving a performance that's too good for this movie. And Ryan continues being the identical.
City lights keep on shining. I see you smiling eyes of blue.
It was nice of Steven Seagal to loan him one of his jackets. Jesus Christ movie, pick a fucking decade! And then his child grows up to be an Eddie Cochran identical. And Ryan has a larger audience than this movie ever had. The end. The Identical is a bad film for all the reasons I just said. But while it may not be hateful, like God's Not Dead, the filmmakers certainly went in a Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas route when dealing with bad press. After the movie was a box office flop, finishing at number 12 on opening weekend and bringing in an overall $2.8 million against a $16 million budget, the film's Twitter page attempted a campaign for the film's followers to upvote the movie on IMDb and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. They even posted the movie's first 15 minutes on their website for free. That way, people would definitely know for sure that they didn't want to see it. And that campaign worked out well. And ironically, one of the movie's fans claimed, "I hate it when people rate a movie without actually watching it." Well, then you would hate the makers of this movie. Who would have thought that the writer of a movie called The Grace Card would give us a film so poorly received? But on the bright side, at least it's not a faith-based movie that tells women to hide in their closets and pray for their cheating husbands to get food poisoning, and it doesn't have a misogynist like Clay Walsh as its hero. Boy, the scale of these movies is really fucked up!
Where do the plantation rock? Where do the plantation rock?